Hello, William Rose, doing the Module 4 post-lab recap. Overall, this lab was a success. I did have one little situation with filtration paper, which I'll get into, but my results calculated out to be accurate, or at least within tolerance of what my scales kind of been providing. And then we'll just kind of get into it. So still have my same lab set up here, emergency exits as demonstrated in my post recaps. My dry absorbent material just in the corner right back there. I got the wet vac, the class ABC fire extinguisher here, and then I've also got one over there. Not much of a fire issue this week, but still better safe than sorry. I've got the exit here directly outside as well. And then if you turn right, you have trash cans and open area, fire evacuation area, neighbors, anything pretty much they would want. And then I've got my camera system. So everything pretty much the exact same. So module 4, basically we took our calcium chloride and our sodium carbonate, and then we diluted them in a solution, combined them, stirred them together for 3 minutes, let them sit, and basically kind of noticed they separated for 5 minutes, mixed it, and then strained it in a filtration system. So through my scale, I was able to get exactly 2 grams of calcium chloride, 2.5 grams of sodium carbonate. My filtration paper, the second one, came in at 2.4 grams. My filtration paper plus my product came in at 4.3 grams. So then my product, if I took my filter plus product and subtract the initial filtration weight, it came up with 1.9 grams of product. So in my calculation down here, basically I have the sodium carbonate on the bottom, and I have the calcium chloride on the top. Limiting factor being the calcium chloride. And so with my calculation, I should have came up with about 1.804 grams of calcium carbonate. So I am a little under 0.1 grams off. However, with my scale, having some tolerance issues, and then also Nebraska, we've had a severe heat wave with really high humidity. So there is a chance my calcium carbonate, it's got some thicker pieces, and then here still a little thick. So I could probably, let it dry out for even longer, and I might, get a little more accurate into that 0.1 grams. But given the time and everything, fairly accurate. And it also meets the hypothesis that, we'll add the solutions, we will filter it, we will grab the solid material that is left over, the residual liquid, we will strain in our beaker, and basically we'll have some excess just because we won't have 100% efficiency. And then what we end up with is the calcium carbonate solidified material. So accurate in that aspect. The chemicals were good. Nothing too crazy. Honestly, the worst one is probably the isopropyl alcohol that I used to help dry the calcium carbonate. So the one thing that I did have during this week is I had 2 filtration papers, and I folded them, and then folded once, folded in half, and then folded again. And I had one filtration paper that was slightly thicker. I had one filtration paper that was thinner. So I tried to use the thinner one, thinking that it was a little bit more like porous and would filter quicker. And I used my stand into the beaker. And then I used a little bit of distilled water, basically to make kind of a liquid suction around the entrance of the beaker. Poured a little bit of my solution in, and it kind of grew a little bit. Then I poured probably a third of it in. It was holding pretty good. Finally started to filter. I went for a little over half, and then the sidewalls of the filter just softened, and the whole thing just basically fell around the beaker, and I lost my whole first test. So got to utilize my cleanup procedure. So that was good. Worked out well. Cleaned everything up, cleaned the table up. Luckily, I had enough material to replicate, which hopefully doesn't come back and bite me in a later lab. But it was the same packet and same vial of material, so I'm hoping they allowed a little bit of extra in case that happened to somebody. Cleaned everything out, redid the whole process, and then still got accurate results. So overall, feel good with that. Met my hypothesis, successful lab. Like I said, I could probably let this dry out even longer and get it within that 1.8 grams, but it still felt accurate. So I'll deem it a success, deem the lab a success, and other than that, I think that's it. So thank you for your time, and I will see you next week.